You might think you know me, but what do you know? You say you want to help me, but no one cares. You live your beautiful life, but that can never be my life. This is not a life I choose. But I am you, as you and me, and we are born to be free. So am you, take me seriously.
It's all behaviour. He's ill.
You know, Pete, that's interesting. Why don't you say a bit more about that?
He's not mentally ill, it's behaviour.
And what is it about Joe that makes you think that?
Well, he's very unpredictable. And he's really nasty with it. Like last week when he was in my face and he was saying, if I don't sort out a meeting with his aunt, then he's going to beat me to a pulp. And then, literally, minutes after that, he's laughing and joking with a couple of officers. And he's always self-harming, so you make an appointment to see him, and he won't come out of his cell.
How does that make you feel?
Honestly?
Yeah.
I can't stand being in a room with him.
It's funny, I don't mind him. I think he's quite funny and he's always polite to me. I think he's really ill, so if anything, he needs to be in hospital.
To be fair, I think he's probably better with women than men.
Yeah.
Well, mind you, I've seen him be really difficult with Miss Eastman, the SO on his wing, and I always thought they were, like, real tight, and she's really strict, but, well, it's like, I don't know, he just throws you.
Well, still being new, this is all really, really helpful. After Joe's overdose on Monday, I took a look over his record, and I came across a report by Ravi Chowdhury. He's a psychologist who saw Joe 6 months ago. Has anyone read it?
I might have, but...
No.
Well, I'll circulate it to everyone anyway. But for now, I'll just read this little bit. Joe presents as a 27-year-old man with a prolonged history of violent assaults on others, substance misuse, and 3 periods of imprisonment related to drug offences and violent assault. His index offence was assault occasioning actual bodily harm when he was 16. His early experiences were characterised by inconsistent and maladaptive parenting. He spent his early years being moved back and forth between his mother and strict maternal aunt. Father has spent long periods in prison and was in HMP Barlinnie when Joe was born. Joe only met his dad once. He kidnapped Joe when the boy was 4. It was his intention to take him back to Scotland. Joe's mother found them in a B&B in King's Cross. An argument ensued and they compelled Joe to choose which of them he wanted to live with. He initially chose his father, but as his mother was leaving, he went with her. He stayed with his mother for approximately a year, and during this time she was with a partner who was violent to both her and Joe. As a result of this, his aunt took him back with her and he didn't see his mother for several years. Joe's uncle, to whom he was very close, died when Joe was 12. Joe then went to live with his mother until her death in a car accident 3 years later. And when he was 22, his girlfriend of several years died of leukemia. Now, these events appear to have had a significant emotional and psychological impact upon him, resulting in him struggling with his own sense of self, affective instability, turbulent relationships, being highly sensitive to feelings of dismissal and rejection, which, in turn, can prompt what Joe himself describes as being completely, utterly impulsive and experiencing uncontrollable anger, characterised by episodes of self-harm and violence.
Fuck's sake! Get out of my cell! Fucking get off!
There are recorded episodes of short-lived paranoia, often psychotic in nature, which occur when Joe is extremely distressed. So, I mean, what do we make of all that in terms of Joe's present behaviour?
He's a very damaged young man, isn't he?
And that's why he's never going to change.
Okay. Well, let's think about those two things.
Joe wanted me to ask if you could just let him out of his cell and take him to his music group.
No, I can't let him out of his cell for his music group or anything else. He's back on basic because of what happened yesterday. And he's just finished threatening one of my officers. What message do you think that's going to send to the other men on this week?
I'm really sorry, I didn't know.
Well, you should. And by the way, you know he's found out about your GP's buying a new house, looking for a new car?
No, I didn't. Look, I'm gonna have to talk to our managers about that. I'm very sorry.
It's about time healthcare got its act together about this bloke. Do you not realise how dangerous he is?
Why can't I have extra time to rehearse on my guitar? You absolutely know that I've got a performance coming up. I mean, come on, the #1 governor and all his guests are going to be there.
You know why. We've been through this. I'm not going to repeat myself, pal.
Your governor lets me. He says I can take all the time I need.
Then take it up with him then.
I'm telling you what he said, ain't I? It's not my fault no one tells you what's going on and you can't do your job.
I can do my fucking job. And I'm telling you.
What? You've got nothing you can tell me. You can't even manage this wing. Everyone takes the piss out of you and I stick up for you, always. And you can't do the simple thing for me. There are times I'm the only person between you and the guys that would slit you open from ear to ear. Fuck you. Where are you going with that gun in your hand?
So if you go back to work, start coming out of your cell and mixing with the other men, and we don't get any more of that type of behaviour
What behaviour?
Joe, you do those things and you give us a guarantee that you won't hurt yourself, then I'm sure Mr. Best will let you start your classes again. You'll feel better.
Why would I even want to be a cleaner? You're not listening. The two of you, I'm telling you, it's too much. I've had enough. I just don't want to be alive anymore.
Everyone's trying their best to help you here, Joe, but you're not working with us. We're going around in circles here.
Oh, it's my fault. Piss off. Take me back to my cell.
Fucking nightmare.
I'm not worried about him. Anyone who says they're going to kill themselves is not going to do it.
I don't know where to go with him. I'll tell you what, he's nowhere near as special as he thinks he is.
I'm going to keep the act open.
Yeah, but he's a psychopath. He's never going to change.
Ah, thanks very much, Liz. I really appreciate it. So you're going to have a word with Mr. Best to get me that extra visit for my aunt's birthday, and I'll be able to get that class tomorrow, yeah?
I'll do my best.
You drive me crazy, Miss Lazy. Say you're driving me insane.
Joe?
Half of what I say is meaningless, but I say it just to reach you.
I see Joe's been in the red zone for some time now, which is rightly so, given his serious attempt on his life. But he's not being seen every day. I mean, has there been a problem?
Well, I've got 35 people on my caseload. Just don't have the time.
Well, I get that. And I guess it's the same for the others. I've noticed that most patients in the red zone aren't being seen daily either. And maybe there's problems with that getting picked up in the clinical review and allocations meeting.
Look, we're all really busy. I've got 6 people on an act, and in fact, I've got to go to a meeting myself in a minute.
Yeah, everybody's been under a lot of pressure, George. And it's not just numbers. You know, working with people like Joe, well, you know, it isn't easy.
No, I know. And I also know that clinical supervision, reflective practice haven't always been available to you. Have you missed that?
To be honest, since I arrived, I've hardly had any supervision.
I don't miss it that much. We did have reflective practice sessions and nobody turned up to them. And the facilitator wasn't a lot of cop anyway. Supervision is usually down to the manager's agenda.
Have you done your stats?
I must say, the medical staff and the IAP team, they always make sure they get their supervision.
Okay. Well, we'll set up things like a reflective practice group, clinical reviews and proper clinical supervision, so that you can all talk about your own caseload and the issues that it throws up.
Yeah, but how do we make the time when the caseload's already so big? It won't go down well with the officers if I have to stop going to the ACT reviews so that I can tell someone that I'm too busy to go to the ACT reviews.
Well, caseload sizes and workload will be the first things that we look at.
I have to go.
I asked everybody to keep their diaries free until 3 o'clock. So Liz, yeah, stay with this, please.
Yeah, but what about Mr. Emmerich? He's expecting me.
I'll go down there and see him with you when we're finished, okay? One thing I was wondering was whether Dr. Lockhart-Smith ever said anything about caseloads or things like people in the red zone not being seen. And she was supposed to be here today, but she's still at the coroner's court.
She's only got 4 sessions a week. And the associate specialist post, it hasn't been filled or it's frozen or something. She's always doing assessments or court reports. She gets to most of the clinical reviews.
Well, we're just too busy, George, you know?
Well, we'll deal with the caseload sizes, but right now, I need to get all of these guys allocated. Okay, well, that's great. Now, everybody has a named key worker, except Joe. Pete, you've worked with him before?
I genuinely feel I'm at full stretch, and like I said, I really struggle with him.
Well, I'll give it a go, so long as the supervision is there.
No worries. I'll meet with you. Right. It's coming up to 3 o'clock. But before we meet again next week, I'd like you all to go away and have a think about what we can do to bring more structure to the way we work as a team. It's the kind of things that help us when we're working with people like Joe.
Can you give us an idea of what you mean?
Well, if you take a look at the literature, and I've seen it work quite a few times in other teams, it's very effective to have, say, a 15, 20-minute meeting each morning. Discuss the patients that are in the red zone, what happened 24 hours before, what's going to happen that day. And after all, these are our priority group in the team caseload. There are other things that we can do.
Just so you know, Joe's been asking about those extra sessions in the gym. I told him that we've been talking. You said he'd lost them after his adjudication.
What did he say to that?
Might surprise you, but nothing complimentary about you. I did say I'd see him as usual tomorrow. I have no idea if it's Jim any good, but I asked him to try and think about why he does stuff like that.
Oh, he's been on the netting again.
Joe, what do you think's going to happen if you keep getting into trouble like this? Joe. 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 Joe, what are you thinking?
It's not my fault.
What about seeing the GP then?
Joe, why you ask me that? You know you need to make a nap.
Yeah, but you can't blame me for trying, can you?
Think. Think about what Julie's been doing with you next time you're going to go off on one. I've seen it all before. It's only going to get worse. You've got to get a lid on that temper of yours, or you're going to be in and out of here.
Go and boil your head! Do you think I need to listen to you? None of you know what you're on about. You spend 5 minutes reading a psychology textbook and you think you know me. You know fuck all about me.
Joe, you need to
Oh,
stop.
poor little Thumbelina. Suppose that's me on an IEP. Do you think I care? Fuck off.
Okay, so lastly we have Joe Powell.
Not least.
How's he been this past week?
No different. Worse, if anything.
In what way?
Well, challenge him would be the kindest way of putting it. He's disruptive on the wing, winds the other gentleman up, wouldn't go back in his cell on a couple of occasions, comes out wearing flip-flops, verbally abusive and, well, resistant to anything we try and do with him. Julie?
Well, I was speaking to his psychologist and she said he's making real progress in his group therapy. He's talking about his aunt and his mum, stuff about his early life. But I'd been talking to him about the incident when he wouldn't go back into his cell, and he was encouraging other men to stay out with him, and he was just shouting and swearing at me and then refused to see me yesterday. There's also been a couple of incidents of superficial cuts.
Oh, and, yeah, his sleep's got worse. He's all over the place.
Okay. I guess as we're trying to be more consistent and containing, then we shouldn't be too surprised if there is some escalation to his behaviour.
Look, I understand all the psychological theory, but I just want to get him off my wing. He's doing my head in, and more importantly, he's doing my staff's heads in.
I mean, can we really justify spending all this time on one prisoner? What about all the other men on that wing?
Let's remember what you were talking about last week. Right? Joe's been talking to you about making important changes. Yeah? He said that he doesn't want to see himself as this person that we've all just been describing. Right? The person who self-harms, disrupts, does people's heads in, screws up.
Yeah.
And we all knew it would get harder before it got better. But collectively, you've got your foot in the door. It seems to me we've got a choice. You know, you carry on with this, or spend even more time mopping up his chaos.
Okay, so the plan is we tell him we're taking him out of his group because it's too much for him.
Yeah, but don't forget, try and sell that to him, you know. I think he might be relieved.
Yeah, Mr. Harrison and I will carry on seeing him, and then we'll just review it again in a few weeks if his behaviour settles down.
And he's able to demonstrate he's got a handle on it. We've got a regime to maintain here.
Look, you don't get it, Julie. No one cares. It's just like people playing lip service. Jeez, I don't know how you lot sleep at night. It's crap. Oh, we'll do this for you. We'll do that for you. Yeah? Playing fucking mind games. Just give me the truth. And there's all these young kids, like they're the big man, and it's really dragging me down. I mean, you never really know what's going on. Trying to stitch me up. And you lot, look at me. Look at me. I might as well do myself in right now.
Joe, take a minute. Think about where you're at on the thermometer scale we looked at. Try and bring the temperature down.
I just want you.
Joe, you need to listen to Julie. I know it's hard for you, but give her a chance.
So a few minutes ago, you mentioned a visit from your aunt.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, Mr. Harrison was telling me she's been very special in your life.
Look, I don't mean to have a go at you.
That's okay. If that's the reason this visit is so important, then you can talk about that.
What's to talk about?
Well, we, Mr. Harrison and I, we just really want to spend this time focusing on what really matters to you. In particular, we want to help try and keep you safe. And I'm really concerned that we seem to be missing something when we're trying to understand you and what's troubling you.
What?
Well, is it the visit from your aunt that you've been worrying about?
My sister, she's my half-sister, but she's like a real sister, you know. She's bringing my auntie Mary in. It's been a while, because she's been ill. My auntie, like, it was me that done that. You know that saying, worried sick? I made her ill, worrying about me. She's always had to worry about me.
Well, it sounds like you worry a lot about her.
She's the only person that's always been there for me. I mean, I've always let her down. I know I'm screwing up, but the more I try and not screw up, the more I screw up. Pillow, she'd say. That's what she calls me when she's angry with me. You'll never make a living being a criminal. You're not even any good at it. That's what she says. And she's right. Every day I think about her and what I've done to her.
Is that one of the reasons you cut yourself? And we've had all this disruptive behaviour the past week or so?
This whole thing is literally driving me nuts. I mean, try and imagine what it's like. It's like a volcano in here. I want to kill myself. No, I do. But then I don't. Do you know what's completely fucked up about it? Is it's the logical side of me, like the sane side that wants to die because I can't bear the thought of going through this every day for the rest of my life.
Well, I don't know about you, Mr. Harrison, but I take what Joe's saying seriously. I can see just how distressing all of this is for you, Joe. And what we were talking about before this meeting was whether we can try and help you find some middle ground.
Yeah, but this has all got to stop. Right now, like, the cutting, the winding people up, the messing everything up, that's why I want to carry on with the therapy group.
We know that. It's just that we don't think you're quite ready for that
Oh.
yet. No, look, we're not rejecting you. It's really important that you listen to this because we're not rejecting or criticising you. It's just that we think you need a different type of help at the moment. In particular, we really want to focus on helping you keep yourself safe. You'll still be meeting with Mr. Harrison as your personal officer and meeting each week with me.
But Julie...
It's a bit like you were just saying. On one hand, you want to hurt yourself, even kill yourself. And on the other, you don't. It's like you don't want to mess up, but you do. But that's what we need to work on with you right now. Then, we can think about you going back to the group.
Yeah, but why is Miss Eastman always having a go at me?
Is that what she was doing?
She's wanting me back in my cell, and I'm in the middle of helping Abdul, because, like, everyone knows he's going to go and top himself.
Hang on a minute.
What do you mean, hang on a minute?
Now, look, bear with me. Put yourself in Miss Eastman's shoes for a moment. What do you think she's thinking?
Oh, no, it's that fucking prick Powell again.
No, really. What do you think she's thinking?
I don't know. She's probably thinking, like, I never put up with any messing. Everyone's got to be banged up. If Powell doesn't go back, no one else will. And I know that she was going to speak to Abdul because Abdul told me that when we were talking. And I know that she only had a couple of poncy kids working with her on that shift.
So? What do you make of that?
Look, I know what you mean. She's always straight with me, all right? But you've got to remember, this gets to me. I'm only human.
Yeah. I get that.
It's like a star in love with the moon, but at last the sun. She's a thorn in a flower bed, but I like that, yeah. But I like that.
Listen, I want to start that gym program tomorrow. What about that? Can you start that for me?
Yeah, that is something we agreed would be good for you, but remember I said it wouldn't be possible for you to start it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but what about, what's his name? Ali. Aye, he's got a place. Why can't I?
I know waiting often winds you up,
Well then.
but there isn't a place available. Look, I tell you what, it's possible Nancy, one of the PEIs, can give you something to be doing in the meantime. Do you want me to get in touch with her?
What's the point? She won't help.
How do you know that?
Because people always find a way to fuck things up.
Is that right? Everyone fucks up every time. Do you want me to give her a call, see if she can see you?
Ah, fuck it. Go on. Cheers. Hey, Yvonne, can you set me up on that gym program? The one that Nancy said would be good for me?
You speak to Mr. Best about that, Joe.
Ah, come on. You're all right. You're a pal. You always help me out. Nancy said it'd be good for me, but that she needs the okay from you. Why can't you sort it for me?
Because you're trying it on now, Joe. You need to speak to Mr. Best about that.
What is it with you lot? Everyone has to be your fucking way.
Language. You need to speak to Mr. Best about that because that's what you agree, Joe.
Paul, can you spare a few minutes? Please, I'm struggling. I really need to speak.
Okay, walk with me. I've got to make sure Mr. Robinson gets something by 11 a.m. What's the problem?
Well, I mean, I'm having a really crap day, aren't I? I couldn't sleep last night because I was thinking about stuff, and then I've really screwed up with Nancy in the gym, and then Ross and some of the other pricks are having digs at me, telling people that I'm gay because they want to stop me getting out of here.
Joe.
It's really...
Joe,
Yeah.
where are you on that scale you use with Julie?
I'm way up in the bastard in red zone. I'm at 95 fucking degrees. I mean, I'm going to explode, man.
Joe, look at me. Slow it down, Joe. Can you remember your care map?
Nah, but what's the point? No one cares.
All right, well, let's just imagine for a moment that someone does. Now, the first thing is asking for help. You've done well, because you said how hard that is for you. Now, you've got your breathing exercises, writing down what's upset you, and checking out your thoughts.
Yeah, and staying away from the guys that are winding me up and balancing my time. Not too much time in my cell, but getting quiet time, yeah, I know.
I think it's really important you take your meds today, yeah?
I've been doing really well, and then I fucked up again.
Well, have you, Joe? Look, on the one hand, you've been working on your care map, which is a good thing. And on the other, you're in a bad place right now. This happens. This will probably happen again, but this time you did something different, which was tell one of us. This is progress, but it's going to be slow. It's about
balance.
Look, I'll increase the amount someone comes to check you're okay until tomorrow, and Julie will come and talk to you in the morning. All right.
Ah, Joe. Glad I caught you.
Yeah, all right, Julie, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. Paul was telling me your aunt missed her visit yesterday. Yeah, and I remember you telling me this is the kind of thing that is often very upsetting for you.
She's not been very well again.
Are you worried about her?
Of course I am.
Yeah, I was thinking about your care plan and how we agreed we'd try and avoid a crisis.
Well, this might be a crisis for her. I mean, she's got a chest infection and, like, you know.
Well, so why don't we get together this afternoon and talk about this?
Why would you do that? Doing your job?
We can talk about that. I'll have about 15 minutes, though. I want to try and be focused.
What time?
As close to 3 as I can manage.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to try and keep my head down and I'm writing a song for her.
Ah, yeah, Bass was telling me about that. He said it's pretty good.